you know,
Right.
this actually started out as a journey way back when, and I had no clue after all these years it was going to end up here at the Egyptian Theater.
Hey, Craig, I just want to, right off the bat, I just want to ask you, this is Chris, your friend.
Chris,
This movie makes me really fucking nervous, okay, to know you. And I brought 2 friends, and they're wondering what the, I don't know. From that, we can have drinks and talk, and then, but I'm just, you got me rattled. But are you gonna, is this gonna go right into a cooking show?
yeah, oh yeah.
So I wanted to know if you're just, thanks.
Oh yeah, no.
I couldn't help myself. You freaked me out. These people are freaked out here. Are you
Well,
guys okay?
yeah. I mean,
Okay, it's
I
just me
came
then.
from a small town in northern freaking Minnesota, right? I mean,
Minnesota.
who would have thought?
Nobody's really hungry.
Oh, let's do some organization. All right, who's asking a question?
Where did you film it?
This was all filmed throughout. Well, first off, all of the outdoor scenes were shot at a vacant church lot. And then like
Catholic, was
we
it?
were actually kicked out because they found out we were doing a movie called Microwave Massacre. I told them it was a church film. I mean, start Jackie Vernon for God's sake. You know what I mean? Frosty the Snowman.
What city?
Well, actually, that was in I think, in Sherman Oaks. And the actual house, I mean, 80% of all the interiors was actually shot in Mickey Dolentz's of the Monkees. As it turns out, he was actually renting, I mean, selling his house. So for $1,000, I gave him a check, Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees. So Dr. Fools, all the, the entire house was all filmed in Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, and he showed up every now and then, so.
I
was cool.
gotta bring up something about Mickey Dolenz. So Mickey Dolenz was here for a Monkees tribute back this summer. Incidentally enough, we had Lawrence David Folds here for Young Warriors and Don't Go Near the Park.
Yeah.
Larry
And my partner.
and Craig worked together on Malibu High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At age 25 or 26, I moved out here from Minnesota, where Chris Balke is also from. Minnesota. That's where we both sit. No, it's cool.
You've got me really nervous, Craig. I'm not kidding.
You got that right. Question.
Where did you get the inspiration to write and make this film?
Inspiration was I was, after moving out here from Minnesota, I started taking a class at UCLA in low budget film production with Irv Berwick, who actually happened to then be the director on Malibu High. So for the chorus, we all had to write a story treatment on how on doing a film. So so my story was it had to be exploitable. It had to be low budget, but enough budget to make it that you could actually produce a film and make it into theaters, which I wrote, and at the I wrote it. A group of us in class, including Larry Follis was there, who did Malibu High, and I was the only one to get an A in the class. It did all of that. And the funny thing is, we started shooting Malibu High in Santa Barbara, well under $100,000. And one night in a motel room in Santa Barbara, few of us, Tom Singer, the other associate producer of Malibu High, Wayne Burke, the sound man, on Malibu High, the son of Irv, who directed Malibu High, we decided let's do Microwave Massacre.
All right.
And a few months later, we started filming. You know, after Malibu High was shot, the whole thing, we started raising the money. And based on my ridiculous story, Microwave Massacre, and getting Jackie Vernon involved, we actually raised $100,000 and actually started shooting Microwave Massacre probably 6 months after I had finished Malibu High. It was incredible. And I almost had Rodney Dangerfield involved. He loved it, but you know, he himself would have cost 3 times what the whole budget was. So forget that. We went with Jackie Vernon.
Because Ronnie at the time was more of a stand. He didn't have as many film roles when you were making it.
No.
Like besides The Projectionist, which was produced by Roy Frumpies, who did Street Trash and all that. He didn't have many film roles up until that point.
Caddyshack.
No.
Caddyshack.
Actually not.
Was Caddyshack? Well, no, I thought Caddyshack came out in the '80s. You were at
1980.
It was in
1980.
but like they were making Microwave Massacre in the '70s.
Right, yeah. And the funny thing is, all that score, you know, after years of being turned into a cult film, a lot of rumors came out, like Pee Wee Herman being the end guy, you know, that you got to see this. Many people thought it was Paul Rubens, but it's not. It's some actor friend of ours. So all these things came out through the years that never really happened. But, you know.
Okay, Craig?
Yeah.
I'm kind of the co-moderator here. This is great because I'm in St. Paul. But I dug the music in a kind of a ginchy kind of 70s way.
Kinda like a Debbie Does
Who
Good
were
Dallas.
those guys anyhow? The Wonka Wonka music that you had.
The music was, you know, believe it or not, we actually put it in that Leif Horvath did the score.
Mm-hmm.
So through the years, many people thought Leif Horvath did this incredible score. It sounded like pretty incredible. It was Tom Singer, Wayne Brook, and myself at Regent Films or whatever. We paid $1,000 for stock music. So we painstakingly went through all the music. I mean, it took forever finding that music on the score, and many people
Wow.
thought that someone actually composed the score.
Oh.
You know, I mean, it was
Nice.
incredible. But Leif Horvath is in fact myself, Wayne Berwick, Tom Singer.
No, because the opening credits, because my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, was like a lot of like the nudity and gore was shot after the fact to kind of make it more sellable, correct?
Oh yeah, no, we actually shot this in 1978 and finally finished in 1979 with the editing and the whole gambit. Actually, this film was originally over 100 minutes long. And there was one big sequence, a dream sequence, where Jackie Vernon was in a dream with all this huge meat and a big turkey, like this big. It was an incredible scene. It actually probably cost a lot of money, and we could never find the footage after we had to cut it out. It would have been great. But we finally made a distribution deal. It took forever making a distribution deal. 1979, the United Film, Steve Navy wanted to pick up the film. They just released Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
He loved the freaking film, but it was so different. They decided against it. It was totally different, and so painstakingly took a few years trying to make this deal. Finally, Richard Ellman, his company released movies like The Song Remains the Same, those type of films. He was one of the first people that actually saw the film in like 1979. And I still recall, he says, "Craig, this is the worst film I've fucking ever seen." In 1982, he calls me up. He said, "Craig, that worst film I've ever seen has stuck to me.
Nice.
And I want, he says, no, I said, this is so totally different. That selected tape, Midnight Video, you know, which was one of the very first distributors for major video. In 1983, it came out huge, all over the world. And Variety even wrote up a big piece, like Microwave Massacre, the first film ever released directly for video. Well, actually, it came out in drive-in theaters at the same time, in August of 1983, at the same time, all over the world.
At the Flying Cloud?
What's that?
At the Flying Cloud in St. Cloud, too?
Yeah, in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You probably saw it, Chris.
I did.
It influenced you in The Purge, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, man. Or Twin Peaks.
Yeah, right. A little bit.
Yeah,
Talk
I
about
just
the
wonder.
design and the sofa. What was the idea? Where'd you get the sofa with the big stain on
As
it?
far as what now?
The
I guess
set
it-
design.
Oh,
of the
because that was
sofa.
Robert Burns.
Robert Burns, yeah. I mean, true story. I was at a bar with Wes Craven, you know, and he said, "You got to use my, you know, this budget." I told him what his budget was. I mean, hell, he did you know, Last House on the Left. I mean, low budget stuff, right?
Yeah, Robert Burns did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which he's probably best known for. He did, obviously Microwave Massacre. He did The Hills Have Eyes with Wes Craven, and he did Joe Dante's The Howling.
The Howling,
Wow.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And worked with people that, you know, that, other people that might be here in this audience right now.
Really?
Anyway, so, yeah, Robert Burns actually sent me the, you know, his resume. I mean, it was I mean, all that work, all that art direction, the head, everything was all done for $1,000. I mean, Robert would go out to garage sales, everything. And a lot of people didn't realize that, you know, except some of the European critics liked this film, but others hated it because they saw certain things in the film that through the years the fans finally caught on and critics later found out. I mean, Robert Burns is a freaking genius. I mean, that art direction was brilliant. This was made. Actually, in 1978, Ruth Buzzy wanted to be in the film. I showed the script. She said, "Hell, she worked with Jackie Vernon, you know, and the Dean Martin roast, this and that." She wanted to be in it, and she would have been a great maid, actually. But then we were going to cast her, and then Walt Disney Studios came along, cast her in a film, and the manager turned. He said, "You cannot do a cannibal movie." But everything had, you know, years later. I'm glad we had Claire Ginsburg as May. She turned out marvelous. Jackie Vernon, second to none. I'd have him any day over Rodney Dangerfield, actually.
Yeah.
Frosty the
Now,
Snowman.
now, we were talking about it a little bit. It's like you'll notice Jackie's talking a little bit slower in this than in Frosty. How much of the budget went for the Quaaludes?
Well, we can, yeah. Actually,
That's a good.
Jackie Vernon was a sweet guy. And my partner, God bless him, Tom Singer, worked with me on Malibu High. And unfortunately, he passed away in January, unfortunately. But, you know, because he was a big part of us, you know, two turn out classic films.
But you had a budget item for Quaaludes?
Yeah,
No?
we
You
ultimately
okay.
did.
Okay.
Contingency.
See, I was looking for
Yeah.
a percentage. Was it a 2% or a 10%?
Oh, well,
Half the budget.
1% because we found a good dealer. You gotta find a good dealer. I gotta tell you. Contingency. I know how to make a freaking film, okay? Contingency means contingency. You have to look at every aspect of these things. That's why I made two freaking films that, you know, are still playing nowadays. You know, that, you know.
What if they gave you $25 million? What would you do? What kind of-
Well, I wouldn't do Ben-Hur, I know that.
You got a question right
Yeah.
there.
Well, first of all, I love the movie. I just discovered it through, Arrow Films on Blu-ray and stuff. And to me, it's like a mix of like Blood Feast and Married with Children. Perfect, you know?
No.
And like, my question is, where's the fucking sequel?
Yeah, there you go.
We need to see part 2.
Oh, yeah. Well,
23 million.
oh, yeah. We actually have a major sequel, and my writing partner up there is David Bond.
I'm in the
Yeah.
wall.
Graduated today, Beyond Evil. David and I actually wrote a book a few years ago called Fresh Garbage, right?
Right.
Which also had done well. But anyway, we actually wrote a kind of a sequel in a way, going back to, you know, actually my original story on Microwave Massacre was dark humor, straight dark humor, more in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre vein. Once we got Jackie Vernon involved, it evolved into a Jackie Vernon vehicle. Tom Singer wrote the script. Kind of pissed both Weinberg and myself off in a way. But that being said, it became a cult film because of it. But no, the sequel that David and I actually wrote is a direct takeoff of my original dark concept. So we actually wrote a script there on it. So we can actually do 2 sequels. We can do
Yeah.
my the version of my original dark humor, and we can also do a low budget. I mean, to do a sequel on the Microwave Massacre, we still have a couple people still alive from the cast. It has to be low budget, so you know there's a couple
And
options there.
a lot of people were gonna see it. For sure.
Oh yeah, I know
Cool,
that.
yeah.
He opened the restaurant.
Question right there.
Greg, I'm just curious, after the film was complete,
Sweeney
what
Todd.
comment does Jackie Vernon have on the
Next to Malibu.
artistic body of this amazing movie?
Believe it or not, back in, he passed away, I think, late 80s. And at his ceremony, funeral, a lot of comics were there, including, I know, a lot of people were actually there, comics. Jan Murray.
Wow.
Jan Murray came up to me. He says, Craig, 80% of all the people talking about this movie was, I'm about Jackie Vernon's life, his career, was about your movie. And he said, I was great friends with Jackie. And it always came up about Microwave Massacre. He did Frosty the Snowman. He was on the David Letterman show constantly. He was a regular on all these talk shows. But he said he absolutely, well, one thing, and I take it personally, that he said, I love Craig. He was like my son. And every Christmas I would go over there, him and his wife Hazel, and he was. I mean, for years. I mean, I was like part of his family.
What'd you have for dinner?
Well, thankfully it was Hazel that made the food. His wife. Otherwise, Lord knows.
Did she use a microwave?
Did you ever find out if he actually enjoyed the picture, is my question?
Oh yeah. I mean, this was, I found out through his friends, including Jesus, who just passed away. Jeez, my mind's behind. No, big star. Robin Williams. found out through Robin Williams, this was his greatest achievement, coming from Jackie Williams, from Robin Williams. You know, because also a good friend of Robin of Jackie Burns was Bud Freeman, the Improv. So I used to go there all the time, because obviously, you know, all the comics. As far as hung out, Robin Williams himself told me, you know, he was Jackie Burns was a hero to him, hero to everyone, and coming from Jackie Burns, I mean, his proud moment was making Microwave Massacre, of all things.
Great question. Chris Mulkey, St.
Yes,
Paul,
Chris.
Minnesota. Hi. You can't keep a man down. Okay, so who? You had that brilliant comedian gag. The store clerk, and he sees himself in the mirror, and hey, we're closed.
Right.
That was just a priceless. Oh, it was a priceless shtick. Who was the guy?
Ed, I forget his last name, but Ed. Well, I mean, all these actors, Chris, I mean, we cast everyone right down to the. You know, we had.
Did you get him from
cast
town here? Did you get him from LA?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh wow, he was like
Oh, yeah.
totally vaudeville. Jackie
Oh,
Burns.
he was. You know, every actor in this movie were all actors. I mean, most of them were SAG actors, obviously low budget, non-SAG. We had SAG. We had.
We're gonna have to write you up there. This is your union bus. Everybody on the ground.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
He invited me, so.
Oh yeah, we had SAG. I had SAG calling me over. All right, I became good friends with SAG. All right.
But that guy was great. Whether
Oh
he
yeah,
was or wasn't.
every
he was
single
amazing.
person was we cast ourselves.
Yeah, you were great. I liked your outfit.
How about that? I mean, we had an actor that didn't show up freaking up. I said, what the hell, Wayne? What are we gonna do? Wayne Berwick. I said,
Yeah.
Craig, you act.
Is that how you ended up being the?
That's why I ended up being the person. You know what I mean?
I've had to put the lingerie on so many
Oh,
times.
So if there is a sequel, I'm not sure if I should play myself. What do you think?
Good work.
Yes,
I actually grew up in the San Fernando Valley. Some of the locations look kind of familiar.
they are. Oh yeah.
Did you shoot a lot on Sherman Way?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
In fact, true story. That bar, you know, Sam the bartender's bar is Casper's.
Where was that?
Casper's bar.
Yeah, that's
That
on
was the
Sherman
bar?
Way. On
Yeah.
Sherman Way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the hot chick, Karen Marshall, I think it was my lover, next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Honest to God, so we shot all night at Casper's bar. We had to shut off Sherman Way, right? So it's like midnight. Now Karen's the actress. Boyfriend happened to be there. He
Why'd you
happened to
have
be
to
a
shut off
manager at
Sherman
Universal.
Way? But why'd you have to shut? You didn't have any
Of course we
traffic
did.
scenes.
Well, we did.
Power broker.
On our movie, Chris, we might have to shit down a few things, okay? On Rip the Shreds, right? Anyway,
Midnight shutdown.
so, true story. I mean, here I have $100,000 freaking dollars, 35 millimeter, and this Karen's boyfriend comes up to me, big shot, hot shot at Universal Studios. He says, Craig, you're not gonna get away with this. No freaking way. You're gonna get away with shutting Sherman Way down, right? Well, really? Well, anyway, so we started, you know, Jackie Vernon. No shit, I love Jackie Vernon. So anyway, let me stop traffic. The cop freaking stopped traffic. And honest to God, he stopped traffic. He said, whoa. You know, I mean, we finished the freaking scene, honestly. And then the cop, oh God, I have to go. Says, let me know when this movie's coming out, okay? Man, he gives me his freaking card.
Oh, nice.
The big shot at Universal comes up. Holy shit! I
Wow.
should hire you, man.
Yeah,
I can't believe how much money you would have. I mean, we spend on stupid stuff. Anyway, so that's one of the things about low budget film producing that I learned the hard way. That's what you can see on the screen right now, 35 years later. Boom.
yeah.
And my question is, how did you become involved with Arrow Video for this restoration and
Actually,
Blu-ray release?
we've had probably 5-6 distributors vying for it. In the last couple years, a number including some famous ones. Actually, some big companies, Grindhouse, etc. And then we just looked up Arrow. We found them all. They're from England. I had a good hunch because in 1982 my first big distribution deal was through Radiance Films in England. And they gave us a cash deal, So why not? And it went viral there in England. So I said, well, let's go with Arrow Films. And a cute few producer friends of mine, including name dropping Mick Garris, says they're a great company, so go with them. And we did. They gave us a cash advance, so why not? And they've been a great company. I got to tell you, hands-on. I mean, that's why we're showing here, showing in Toronto, Calgary, this and that. But great company. I mean, the publicity they've been giving us and hands-on. They let me know exactly what's happening, and that's what I like. And, especially after being screwed on profits on in the past and this and other films.
So, how was it to see it with Frosty?
What's that?
How was it to see Microwave Massacre with Frosty tonight?
I mean, it was great. I've never seen it this way. I mean, Jackie Vernon was just like, whoa. He stuck out. I mean, sitting next with Jill, she was commenting throughout the whole thing. So she thought it was great. It says, wow. I mean, at CryptCon and some couple of signings, it's amazing how many, most of the fans are in their 20s. In their 20s. It's amazing because of Jackie Vernon, Frosty the Snowman. If you go get stoned, grew up on them, and then they watch Frosty the Snowman turning into a cannibal, but a lovable cannibal. That's what. That's part of the whole. That's part of the whole thing. I think why this film. Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, Jackie Vernon is a lovable guy, and he carries through. I mean, my God, what he does is as big. I mean, holy cow, he's a serial killer for God's sake. But you don't think of him in the same sense as he's Jeffrey Dahmer. You just don't.
It made me nervous when that little girl got on the train.
You got that right.
This crowd right about here. I mean,
Yeah,
consciously,
yeah,
we all went, whoa, don't get on the train.
Exactly.
You yelled loud. You freaked out.
Come on,
Her
boy.
parents didn't mind. She said,
My mom won't mind.
I gotta tell you, there's a reason. One of our next films is about this werewolf, right?
You mean Rip to Shreds?
Rip to Shreds.
I read that in the paper, and this one I wanted to talk to you
That's
about
right.
tonight.
This guy's going to be involved in it for obvious, as you can tell. I mean, we make a good team, don't we? And how about just between us, Joe Shulin? Why don't you come back with us? Oh yeah. So anyway, I mean, when I do like Malibu High. Malibu High, kind of a similarity between Malibu High and Microwave Massacre. I mean, come on. Malibu High started out as a film called Teen Terror.
I think I saw the movie.
And then it ends up about, everyone thinks it's about this fun in the sun Malibu thing.
Now, Malibu High is a really fucking dark movie, especially coming from Crown.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way they sell it, because we played the trailer tonight, Crown sells it the typical like, hey, it's a fun sex comedy. Malibu High is not a fun Crown sex comedy.
But a high school girl, she becomes a hooker and then a hit girl for the mob. What the hell? Fun Malibu High.
The kid lady.
Every time I do a little film, it has to be a little bit different from the rest, okay? Why not? That's why these films are 35 years later are coming on Blu-ray and blah, blah, blah.
So speaking of Blu-ray, Craig's got some copies that he'll sign for sale. We'll do it out in the lobby here. We'll take one more question, then we're gonna wrap up for tonight. Make it good, whoever's gonna ask it.
Does your mother like this movie?
That's the best question that can be asked.
Yes. The first investor in my movie was my grandmother. You got that right. All right.
I want to thank Craig Muckler for coming out. I want to thank Mike Williamson for loading his print of like Frosty on 16.
Nice.
Wow. Thank all of you for coming out, braving the LA rain, which is like a snowstorm for most of America. And, and I want to thank you guys for not being the audience in It's a Wonderful Life. Thank you so much. Craig will be out there signing, and thank you guys for coming. We'll be back January 13th for Dairy Argento.